Okay.
In 2002 in Georgia, these electronic voting machines were used to steal the election
Sure.
from Max Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is not where were the Democrats after 2004, it's where were the Democrats before that 2004, knowing that it was, I mean, they had to know it was going to be rigged because it had happened 2 years earlier. That's where some of my just huge frustration comes from.
Well, what I would suggest, in certain areas of the country, I mean, my best calculation, you know, when we're fought by Senator Dodd or when recounts aren't allowed in New Mexico by Governor Richardson, I suspect in certain areas of the country, the Democrats may be benefiting themselves by their relationships to certain companies. I mean, it's far be it from me to suggest that the Republicans, the Republicans obviously were smarter and more systematic in rigging the election in Ohio, but, you know, the United States has a long tradition of stealing elections. And this is nothing more than, you know, high-tech Tammany and old-fashioned thuggery. Is that this is really nothing new. It's just now one side, you know, tended to steal retail. You know, vote the cemeteries, register people. The Republicans, being high-tech and with more money, now realize that the best way to steal is wholesale through the computers.
Well, I have like 3 parts to this question. First of all, do you think that this information in your book could get Bush out within his term of supposed office? Number one. Number two, do you think because of what happened in Florida and what happened in Ohio and how blatant it is, that the Supreme Court could be called on the carpet for declaring Bush a winner without accurate information to do that? Because they're the leading court of the land. And then the third one had to do with what you were just mentioning about other elections, and I was wondering if you could say what other elections before these last 2 presidential ones you feel were the most blatant stolen elections.
Well, the first question, no. The second question, no. Not unless the stuff in my book, in the book of documents that comes out, unless there's a new will within the American people. I think the American people need to get the president impeached, and with the parameters that it's a Republican-dominated Congress. I think that's possible to some extent by what happened in New Orleans, which to me, I mean, I felt like I was having flashbacks because I saw the long lines of black people and poor people in the inner city, infrastructure, no machines in a cold rain, and then you turn around and I'm going, man, this seems very familiar. It looks like Election Day, except this time they're dying because of the water instead of simply catching cold. So at this point, no, but it really is I mean, obviously there's more than enough if you want to impeach the president. I mean, the president, somebody is responsible for, you know, the most well-known lie in the recent decade, the weapons of mass destruction, right? I mean, the president, it's against the law under the Nuremberg Charter, really pushed by the United States, and the UN Charter pushed by the United States to, you know, plan, conspire, and wage an aggressive war, which is what the neocon philosophy did. And when you come up with no weapons of mass destruction, although I'm trying to figure out how, when Pakistan had a bomb next door and was harboring bin Laden and selling uranium to the North Koreans, we couldn't figure out that Iraq, which was contained under, you know, no-fly zones, over 2/3 of the country was the real problem. So I think there's plenty of stuff he could be impeached on if there was a will. And finally, your last question was, which ones were stolen? Oh, these. You know, I have very little faith in the U.S. Supreme Court. I have less faith in the Supreme Court of Ohio. I believe that Supreme Court is not going to do anything to remove this president. I wish it were otherwise. But I think that there could be indictments, as there are in Cleveland, from local election officials. One of the most damning letters came from a Republican county prosecutor in Marion County, Ohio, who essentially said J. Kenneth Blackwell broke repeated laws and he should be prosecuted by the Attorney General of the state. But when every elected official in Ohio is a Republican, what is the likelihood that anyone is going to be prosecuted? And obviously the '88 election in New Hampshire, and Ronnie Duggar wrote a very famous article in '88 on e-voting machines. But clearly 2002 with Max Cleveland. Cleveland, when you're winning by 9 to 12 percentage point, and suddenly, and I also say that the first Hagel election, to me, are all visible signs of stolen elections. Who is God?
The same pastor, or else one of his buddies, is now calling the Ohio 2006 election a contest between the forces of righteousness and the hordes of hell.
Yes, of course.
And so the hordes have managed to get registered to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering what all of this implies going forward. What do we do about all this?
Well, you know, it's, if you look to Ohio, I mean, the Ohio Democratic Party's solution to much of this is to become Republican lights. I think that's why the chair of the party is a former well-known Republican. Theirs is to go in the direction of the DLC and say it's really a question of not partisanship, not fighting. We're not as mean-spirited as bad. I think in that situation, the Republicans will win every single time. Yeah, I really, and one of the reasons I'm out on the West Coast, I haven't even toured Ohio yet with my book. I've toured Southern California, the Bay Area, and up through the Northwest, right? Because, you know, in Ohio, they're a little more, except for the black community that's, yeah, what are you telling us? You know, we were there. I mean, you just skip us, you know, go out to the suburbs. Well, we didn't have to wait long. Yeah, that's the point. So, you know, I'm out here. The money came from the Bay Area. I'm touring out here in part because, you know, it's states like Washington and cities like Seattle that really can set the template and model and really, you know, at the County Board of Elections statewide can come up with a fair and accurate and auditable system of counting votes. It ain't going to come out of Ohio. I mean, they took $50 million out of the Bureau of Workers' Comp, laundered it to a baseball card coin opener in a guy who sold rare coins in a hobby shop, and he instantly gave himself $1.375 million, even though it wasn't called for in the contract, and then gave himself another $12.6 million administrative fee, and then laundered a lot of money into every campaign from Bob Taft for governor to Bush to J. Kenneth Blackwell. So our state... The 2006 election, there doesn't seem to be any strong oppositional force within the Ohio Democratic Party, other than there's some chance. I mean, the two Democrats running statewide in Ohio, Ted Strickland actually showed up at our hearings with John Conyers, which was a good side. The African-American mayor, who comes from the leading development firm and is very close to the DLC, Michael Coleman, was actually an old friend of mine. You're not going to get anything out of Michael Coleman. Michael Coleman's basic approach is to be very pro-development. But there is a chance if Ted Strickland gets the nomination that we can wage a battle in Ohio, in that swing state. The biggest problem is that every time the Democrats have an opening, they can't seem to raise any money. They don't really have any apparatus left. Most of the money in Ohio really came in through the 527s or through outside forces, from the Kerry campaign or from Soros or from Peter Lewis, and move on.
I have two questions.